Well, a good Friday. Thank you for tuning in to the Gardener's Corner program, a Friday feature here on TV Channel 10 and WKRX 96.7 FM. My name is Rob Hall. Glad to have you tuned in for the Gardener's Corner program, brought to you by Tim Williams Auction Company. They've got a big auction planned for tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday. We'll tell you more information about that. Also brought to you by T.G. Brooks Company. Been in business since 1936. They're located in the heart of Timberlake. And we're also brought to you today by the Lord Granville Agricultural Heritage Association. They're having their 8th annual harvest show in Butner. That's going to be on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, October 3rd, 4th, and 5th. That'll be the first Friday, Saturday, and Sunday in October. And if you're a fan of antique tractors, hit and miss engines, that's the place for you. We'll tell you all about that and much, much more here on the Gardener's Corner program today. Without further ado, please make welcome all the way from the North Carolina Cooperative Extension Service, a man that we refer to as Dr. C.C. around the station here, Mr. Carl Cantalupi.
Thank you, Rob.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Good to be here.
We're glad to have you here. We always welcome your presence and your knowledge. And anyway, we had talked about it on the show last week, that last Friday night, the Triangle Clarinet Choir was going to be playing at Terminal 2 at the airport in Raleigh. And was just asking Carl about that, and he said they had a great time and a real good turnout, and said it was well received by the listening audience.
That's right. Yeah.
That's always a welcome when you go to do something and then people enjoy it, isn't it?
Absolutely. You bet.
We are live in the studio today. Our telephone number is 336-599-0266. That's 599-0266. We're going to be talking about loan renovation projects today. And we'll kick out, well, not kick out, but we'll start out by making mention, and we'll give you more details in a few minutes. Saturday and Sunday, it is the farm tours. And it is brought to you by the Museum of History and the North Carolina Cooperative Extension Service. And basically what it is, it's about 12 or 14 different farms in the area that are open up on Saturday and Sunday. And they invite guests to come out and see the operation. Of course, this is not free. It is a $20 button that you purchase in advance for $20. Or if you go on the day of and just show up at the farm, the button is $25. But that button is good for one automobile, or ever how many people you've got in your vehicle can get in. And you're welcome to go and tour those farms. But a little bit later on in the show, we'll talk a little bit more about it. Carl is going to be at one of the locations on Saturday and Sunday. Carl, I think we've already got a phone call. Let's go ahead and take care of it. Good morning. Thank you for calling the Gardener's Corner program.
Yes, I would like to know when to prune those knockout roses.
Knockout roses, they bloom on the brand new growth each year. So next spring you can cut it back down. You can cut it back severely, just like you would a hybrid tea. I probably wouldn't prune them now because that's going to stimulate new growth, that won't harden off properly. But I would wait until say around late February or so, or just when you start to see new active growth, then you can prune them back severely.
All right, thank you so much.
All
Hey,
right,
thank you.
calling.
Appreciate your call.
Bye-bye.
Carl, speaking of roses, I know a few months ago we was talking about a new disease in roses, and it was rosette. Is that right?
That's correct.
Is that disease still causing problems now, or is it pretty much died out for the season, would you think?
Well, okay, with virus diseases, they are vectored or transmitted by insects. And as long as you don't have the insects that contain the virus as they feed on the plant, you're okay. So with viruses, you really have to keep checking the plants just to make sure they don't show virus symptoms, and those symptoms can show up as strap-like leaves or gross distortions of leaves and those kinds of things. So the bottom line is, if you are infected, if your plants are infected with rose rosette, the only thing you can do is basically pull them up. It's that severe, because it's not going to get any better. The virus is going to circulate throughout the plant and eventually kill it.
Okay. All righty. Another thing, here we are, the second, week more or less of September. The window is quickly closing for treating for peach tree borers, correct?
That's correct, yeah. People should get some permethrin insecticide and mix it up according to label directions, and then just drench the lower 3 feet of the trunk and the soil surrounding the trunk with permethrin to prevent the eggs as they hatch into larvae. This prevents them from going inside the tree and start to bore into the tree. So the sooner you can do it, the better. All stone fruits are affected: peach, cherry, plum, nectarine, as well as the flowering trees in that family: flowering cherry, flowering peach, flowering plum. Damson is also a variety of plum. All the stone fruits that are mainly between the ages of 1 and 5 years old, these are the trees that are most susceptible to peach tree borer. So a word to the wise is sufficient, I think, because if you don't do that, you run the risk of having the damage, having the insects do the damage, and then next year the tree might leaf out for a little while, and then all of a sudden all the leaves wilt on the tree and die.
All righty. Something else I would like to mention, unless I misunderstood Miss Margaret McMahon in her Out and About radio report yesterday, she was saying that the Person County Farmers Market will be open through Saturday, September 27th.
Okay.
And so, still, you got a few more weeks to shop at the Person County Farmers Market. It's located in Roxborough on Madison Boulevard. They are open for business Wednesday afternoons 3 until 6, Saturday mornings 8 a.m. until 12 noon. And then the Roxborough Farmers Market on Depot Street is open Monday through Saturday from about 7 until noon.
And the Person County Farmers Market will be on the farm tour as well on Saturday.
Okay,
it's
well,
one
good.
of the stops.
Well, Carl, I see you've got some information up on the Person County Farm Tour.
Yeah.
Now, what role will you be playing and helping out with the Person County Farm Tour?
I'll be at J&B Herb Farm both days.
Okay.
And basically, I'm trying to bring up the program and the times, but the computer is very slow here. But basically, from 12:30 to 5 both days. That's the times of the program, and you can visit the different farms.
Now, a lot of these places will have items for sale. Some places may not, but if you go to these places, please be respectable and try not to venture out into an area that maybe would not be safe for you. And if you take children with you, please keep an eye, on the children. But I think it's a great opportunity, and it would be something wonderful for you to take some young people with you on the tour, because so many young people today say, where do you get eggs from? The grocery store. Where do you get fruit and vegetables from? The grocery store. Anyway, this will be a wonderful opportunity to give all ages the opportunity to get a little bit of hindsight into the process of what it takes to get food from the field to the table, so
Right.
to speak.
The goal of the farm tour actually is to provide participants with the opportunity to experience a variety of farms, from the traditional Person County agricultural farms that produce things like dairy products, tobacco, vegetables, fruits, and beef, to non-traditional operations that include things like organic vegetable production, turf grass, flowers, firewood, and buffalo. Participants will also be able to purchase fresh fruits and vegetables, farm-raised meats, flowers, honey, hanging baskets, and a variety of products at some of the locations. And participants can decide which farms they want to visit and can stay as long as they like at each farm within the tour hours, and they can split their visits over the 2-day period. So that's a little bit about the program content.
And Sunset Ridge Buffalo Farm is one of the farms that are participating in the farm tour. And we do have buffalo here in Person County, and it'd be an excellent opportunity for you to check that out. So I think you can purchase your buttons at the Museum of History, also at T.G. Brooks Company. Again, the buttons are $20 in advance, or if you just show up to one of the locations the day of, one of the days of the farm tour, they are $25 each. So save about $5 in advance. And again, one button will get ever how many people you have in the vehicle with you in, so.
And also they can get buttons at the extension service too.
Okay. Well, good. Thank you for mentioning that, Carl.
Mhm.
We are live in the studio today, 599-0266. That's 599-0266. If you've got a question for Carl, please, give us a call, and we'll do our best to get you the information that you need. Now, Carl, here it is, time to start fertilizing the cool season grasses.
Yes, it is.
And I know on the show from time to time I mention comments about it's made on the Old Farmer's Almanac Radio Report. That's a program that we carry weekday mornings here at the radio station at 6:15. And anyway, just a few days ago, he was saying that if you really want your lawn to do great and look pretty and green this spring, now's the time to fertilize your cool season grasses.
Mhm.
And you know what? That's what you've been preaching for years.
Right, because in the fall, the grass growth, root growth starts to slow down, and the grass likes to grow actually within a cool climate. The root growth, however, continues on, and grass roots are favorable to cool soil temperatures as they cool down. So what we want to do then, as the top of the grass starts to slow down, then we add fertilizer to the lawn, and then the nitrogen actually is taken up and stored by the root system for next year's growth. It's not wasted into the grass blade, and therefore doesn't create the hazard of getting brown patch fungus disease. So anytime now is a good time to fertilize your cool season lawn. Of course, get a soil test taken, take soil samples, bring it into the extension office, go out to the lawn area and just take samples from random areas in the lawn, go down 6 inches deep, take a slice of soil, and then mix all those slices of soil together in a clean pail, and then take out enough of that mixed soil to fill up a small Ziploc bag. Bring that into the extension office. The turnaround time is still 5 to 7 days. If you include your email address on the form, you will get the result emailed to you. NCDA does not mail hard copies anymore with the U.S. mail, so email is the fastest way to get your response, and then you can add your fertilizer. Let's see, another thing I was thinking of. Keep the height of the lawn when you mow it tall. There's no need to cut the mowing height this time of the year. I know that was sometime talked about years ago, but actually it's best to leave the height of the turf grass tall, just like you mow it throughout the summer, and this is fine. and so again, lawn fertilization is the time. Now is the time to do that. But
Well, Carl, one thing I wanted to ask, uh, what is a typical open window time to fertilize your cool season grasses? It's a good time to start now,
mhm.
but how late, into the year, into the fall, would be a good time to do it? Would you
I would
say?
say now until late October would be good.
Okay.
Yeah, the best
All
time.
right. Okay.
But we were going to get into talking about uh, in general lawn establishment and care. But before I do that, I don't know if we
Yeah, let's
should
go
break.
ahead and we need to get a word on for one of our sponsors. Uh, a big auction going on tomorrow here in Person County, out on the Whittown Road. It's the estate of Mr. Alvis Birch, who is deceased. Tim Williams Auction Company does a great job, and that auction will be tomorrow and Sunday. You can log on to auctionzip.com to view photographs. You just need to search Tim Williams Auction Company, or when you log on, you put in your zip code and it'll pull up the auctions within 30 miles, and a calendar will come up and you can click on the actual date. Very easy to find. And here's Colonel Tim Williams himself with more information about that auction taking place tomorrow and Sunday.
Look at $100, $100 could be $100, could be $100, could be $200 bill, could be $200 bill. This is Colonel Tim Williams, auction license number 4648. On Saturday, September 13th at 9 a.m. and Sunday, September 14th at 1 p.m., we will be conducting an auction for the personal property of Alvis Birch. Alvis was a former owner of Roxborough Floors and an avid collector for over 50 years. At this sale, we will have 23 guns, permits required for handguns, pottery, Southern Carolina, beautiful handmade quilts, stew pots, all sizes, lots of shop tools, planes, saws, clamps, drills, and more. Farmall Super A, Farmall 140, Woods Belly Mowers, 1984 Chevy S10, wagon wheels, churns, seats from the Kirby Theater, table and benches from Bob Witt's Barbecue, Victor Jr. Wood Cook Stove, tobacco flats, tobacco hand planters, stained glass, and much, much more. Look me up at auctionzip.com for preview times and photos of many items. Bring a friend and a chair for great food and lots of fun. Announcements made on day of sale. Take precedence over all printed material.
Here we are back on the Gardeners Corner program. Again, we appreciate the support of Tim Williams Auction Company. Be sure to check out that big auction tomorrow and Sunday. Mr. Carl Cantalupi of the North Carolina Cooperative Extension Service is our resident expert on lawn care and so many other things. So, Carl, let's just jump right in. We've got our work gloves on, and we're just ready to start working on the lawn.
All right, sounds good. Well, the question a lot of people ask is, what kind of grass should I plant? Well, cool season grasses like Kentucky bluegrass and fescue, as well as warm season grasses like Bermuda grass and zoysia grass they'll both do well in the Piedmont. You can see the map here of the state divided in the western or the mountains, the Piedmont, and the coastal plain. So we can grow either types of grass here, but you have to make a decision as to which you want to grow first. Cool season grasses tolerate cold temperatures well. They're likely to become drought and heat stressed, though, by turning brown in the summer. They green up early in the spring, and they stay green during the fall. On the other hand, warm season grasses tolerate warm temperatures and drought very well. They stay green in the summer, but they go dormant early in the fall, and they don't green up until later in the spring. So those are the characteristics between cool and warm season grasses. So if you want to grow cool season grasses, now's the time to plant them. For warm season grass, you test the soil in the spring. Best time to take a soil test for cool season grass is in the late summer, so that you're ready for seeding in the fall. And again, as I mentioned before, we take random samples in an X pattern, 6 inches deep, across the lawn area. we want to use a non-selective herbicide 2 weeks before we seed. This is something like Roundup. Spray it on the vegetation, the grass and weeds, wait 2 weeks, and then you're ready to till in the lime and fertilizer according to your soil test recommendations about 2 weeks later. After you till, you want to rake the soil to establish a smooth and level grade, and we can seed fescue at 6 to 8 pounds per 1,000 square feet in early September, or now. And then Bermuda grass is seeded at 2 pounds per 1,000 square feet in early June. Warm season grasses are not seeded now because they won't have time to establish before winter, and they'll be very easily winter killed. So we establish warm season grasses in June. Okay, how do we seed? Well, we can either use a rotary or a drop type spreader. You want to apply half the seed in one direction and the other half moving at right angles to the first pass, as you see in the chart here below. We want to tamp the soil lightly or roll the soil to ensure good seed-soil contact, and then we can add a bale of mulch, weed-free wheat straw or something similar at 1 bale per 1,000 square feet. This planting method can be used for warm season grasses as well, such as Bermuda grass. And then if we want to plant Bermuda grass, we can also plant them by sprigs, which are grass plants that form runners on the soil surface. But again, this is done around June the 1st. After we seed the lawn, we want to keep the soil moist to ensure good grass growth. And then we can start mowing when the grass reaches 50% higher than the desired height. For example, we can mow fescue back to 3 inches tall when it reaches 4.5 inches. And we can mow Bermuda grass back to 1.5 inches when it reaches 2.5 to 3. The thing not to do is to let the grass get very tall, then the blades hang over and it gets very stemmy. So start to mow fescue when it reaches about 4.5 inches tall. Then we can fertilize the new seedlings about 3 weeks after they start to grow. If you want to use something like a 10-10-10, about 10 pounds of 10-10-10 per 1,000 square feet should be fine. And then after the lawn has been mowed 3 times, then we consider the lawn established. And after it's been mowed 3 times and it's considered established, we can control broadleaf weeds in the lawn with an application of either Speed Zone or Trimec. These herbicides contain 2,4-D, MCPP, and dicamba, all 3 herbicides mixed together in one product. And then, of course, we control crabgrass with pre-emergence herbicides in the spring. But and for those of you that are not renovating your lawn, now is a good time to apply broadleaf weed killers to your lawn, either the Speed Zone or the Trimec. And it controls a lot of weeds that are small at this time, and it does not allow them the chance to overwinter. What are some of the weeds and what do they look like? Well, this is common chickweed. It's a winter annual that gets its start now. That's why it's good to be controlled with 2,4-D at this time, because if you don't, it will overwinter and it'll be there next spring. Okay, I think we have a caller here.
That we do. Good morning. Thank you for calling the Gardener's Corner program.
Yes, I've got a question about the fescue seed that you're talking about.
Right.
Can you, you said to fertilize 3 weeks after you plant the seed. Can you do that all in one operation, the fertilizer, the seed, the lime?
No, I wouldn't seed with fertilizing because you have the chance of burning. However, there are products that's called a starter fertilizer that you can add to at the same time that you seed. I would buy a product like that.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
All right.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
for calling.
Appreciate your call. That's an excellent question.
Yes.
And call maybe to maybe clarify a little bit of information and maybe cut back on maybe what some people may think is a little bit confusing. I know when you had talked about when renovating their lawn, when you decided that you needed to spray Roundup to kill everything, you had suggested to spray the Roundup, but before doing that, get your soil samples.
Right, right.
Spray your Roundup, and then wait 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Then you find out what fertilizer, lime, and whatnot you need. You put that on the lawn, and then you till the soil up,
Right.
and then you can, plant. And so more or less by tilling the fertilizer and everything up into the soil, it's not as apt to burn the seed as if you're just overseeding a small part
That's
in your
correct.
yard.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why it's suggested to wait about 3 weeks after seeding before putting any fertilizer at all.
Right, and one thing I didn't mention, we talked about sowing fescue. The kinds of fescue to sow, the Kentucky 31 fescue is the old variety that has a very wide leaf blade, and it's a pasture grass. And a lot of people don't like it because it has a very wide and coarse blade. So plant breeders have come up with what we call turf-type tall fescue varieties. The blade is not as wide. It has a more eye appeal to it, a more pleasing texture to the lawn, and but it imparts the same amounts of drought and heat and disease tolerance. And we have different varieties that do well in the Piedmont. Mustang, Rebel, and Falcon are 3 varieties that of turf-type tall fescue that you can use, and many times 2 or 3 of those are blended in one bag. And then always you have a much better chance of trying to fight diseases if you plant a mixture of 2 or 3 turf-type tall fescue varieties, because if we get a disease come in, it'll generally go to one variety and not harm the others. So get a blend of turf-type tall fescue, Mustang, Rebel, or Falcon is very good, and then you're all set.
Okay. All righty. We are live in the studio. Our telephone number is 599-0266. Carl, let's take just a little bit of a break from the lawn renovation.
Mm-hmm.
Last week, you made mention after the show, which we had a pretty busy show last week.
Yeah.
And it was something that you had said that you had wanted to mention last week, but didn't get around to it. But your Master Gardeners
Yeah.
course has started,
Mm-hmm.
and got pretty good attendance thus far.
Yeah, it's very. The attendance has been very good, and we had our second class on Wednesday here in at the Person County office, and everybody came back, so I didn't scare anybody away.
And if some of you folks have not been tuning in over the last few months or so, this is the second year that Carl is teaching the Master Gardeners
Mm-hmm.
program course, and other counties in North Carolina, has been doing this, but Carl had a lot of interest. And pretty much what the Master Gardeners course does, it teaches individuals many different aspects of gardening and the landscape.
Mm-hmm.
And all of this is sponsored by the North Carolina Cooperative Extension Service. Now, it's no charge to take this course, although it's some, handouts and things like that that you can purchase if you like. You don't have to, but if you want to, you can. But the program was, more or less established to help people give back to the community.
Right.
And when you take the course, the only thing that you are asked to do, share the knowledge that you have learned during the course with, people in the community.
Mm-hmm.
And that could be anywhere from going to one of the local lawn and garden places and maybe setting up a booth to where when their customers come in, if they have any questions, they could talk with you.
Mm-hmm.
Or if it's any lawn or gardening clubs in your community, you could lend assistance with them.
Absolutely.
So anyway, the only unfortunate thing is the class is limited to 25 people, and it fills up pretty quickly. And it has already started, so it will be next year in September before that course will be up for new people to
That's right.
to enroll in things. But I think it's a pretty neat concept that you all have came up with, Carl. And it's always nice to give back.
Oh yeah. The Master Gardener program actually started back in 1972. It started in Oregon, and that's where it started, and then since then it's spread to probably every state in the U.S.
Carl, from time to time, I've mentioned things about we have talked about in the past. As far as mosquitoes go, I know we talked, quite a bit throughout the summertime about how to control mosquitoes and everything. Even though it's cooling off some, mosquitoes are still out there.
Oh yeah.
So,
Just empty all containers that collect water, and you'll greatly reduce the chance of being bitten. If you have bird baths, people ask, well, what about the water in the bird baths? Well, as long as you change it, or just take the garden hose and spray fresh water in and knock the old water out, this will decrease the chance of the larvae, developing in the water. Some people ask, are there things that you can actually treat ponds with for mosquitoes? And there are products. The same bacterium that we use to control insects that feed on cole crops, cabbage, cauliflower, and broccoli, the dipel or BT. The dipel or BT that we use for those insects on the vegetables is Bacillus thuringiensis variety Kerstaki. The one that you use to treat mosquito larvae in ponds is Bacillus thuringiensis variety Israeliensis. And you might check the label first. I'm not sure if it's harmful to fish or not. So check the label, but there is a material available that will control mosquito larvae in ponds.
all right. We are live in the studio today. Our number is 336-599-0266. We're going to get a word on for one of our sponsors. Been with us a long, long time. And we are very appreciative of T.G. Brooks Company. Whether it's plumbing supplies, hand-cut ribeyes, or if you need vegetable garden plants, friendly service, or maybe you just need something cold to drink, stop at T.G. Brooks Company, located in Timberlake, a landmark since 1936.
Hey, little by little, fall is starting to creep in, and it's time to get those fall vegetables: collards, cauliflower, cabbage, broccoli, and other fall vegetables. T.G. Brooks Company has them. This is the best time of the year right now to get your yard off to the best start. Remember to kill those weeds in the lawn and get ready for fall seeding. T.G. Brooks Company has the lawn chemicals to do the job. This is the best time of the year to enrich and repair the lawn. T.G. Brooks Company has the new Top Choice Turf Grass Seed for greener and plusher lawns. Also available are rental lawn aerators and pull and walk behind pluggers and spreaders. Bag and bulk mulches and bulk planting soil. They have your fertilizers and lime too. You know what? They still have plenty of lawn sprinklers for the dry days, and water hose fittings if you need hose repair. If you need yard tools, they're in abundance, plus wheelbarrows. Pick up a couple of nice rakes while you're there, fresh pine needles, and if you are the homeowner or if you're in the professional landscaping business, everybody gets the same kind service, and they are set up to handle commercial accounts. No matter what part of Person or Durham County, it is worth the drive to come to the one source to handle your fall needs for lawn and flower garden. Your family will smile when you finish the day, too, with a delicious hand-cut ribeye steak. Brought to you from T.G. Brooks Company, and it's still warm enough for a bowl of homemade ice cream from one of their nice ice cream freezers they have available. They have been around since 1936, and people have trusted T.G. Brooks Company for sound advice. And when it comes to lawn and garden and home, they take pride in serving the homeowner, the farmer, and those in construction. 411 Helena Mariah Road, next door to Community Pharmacy in Timberlake.
Here we are back on the Gardener's Corner program. Rob Hall here, along with Mr. Carl Cantalupi of the North Carolina Cooperative Extension Service. All right, Carl, you want to continue on
Yeah.
with the lawn renovation? You was talking about the chickweed.
Yeah, chickweed is a winter annual. It gets its start this time of the year. Chickweed is very small and inconspicuous, so if you're not really looking for it, you probably won't see it in the lawn. But this is the time to knock it out with Speed Zone or Trimec, so that you don't allow it to overwinter, and then you have the problem of it being there next year. So that's chickweed. We also have the mouse ear chickweed, has a little different leaf. Of course, dandelions. If you have small plants of these, it's an excellent time to control them with broadleaf herbicides now. Plants that weeds that grow in the lawn, and you can see this is curly dock, and in the slide on the right shows the deep taproot of curly dock. And so once this gets established, it's difficult to control. But some weeds, like this one, will grow in areas that are disturbed. The soil is disturbed, or there's no other grass growing. So it grows best on bare soil, gets plenty of warmth from the sun. Dodder, D-O-D-D-E-R, is a parasitic seed plant. This can get its start. I just threw this in there because this occurs in the landscape. If you buy annual plants, you get this this vining type weed strangling whatever plant it grows, because it cannot make its own photosynthesis. So it puts out these aerial branches that take nutrients out of plants. So once you get this, it's very difficult to control. So because it will overwinter, it will go to seed. So just pull it out as you see it, and generally this is not a problem unless you buy transplants that were grown in soils that were infested with dodder. Knotweed, you can see again, it's growing on bare soil, on hard compacted soil as well. So remember, the best defense against weeds is a healthy growing turf. Turf will choke out weeds. It robs them of the ability to get moisture and sunlight. Henbit is another winter annual. It's in the same category as chickweed. For best control, apply the broadleaf weed killer materials right now. Then we have prostrate spurge, very common right now. Lamb's quarters, redroot pigweed. Again, these are all on soils where the turf is really thin. Pineapple weed produces round yellow flowers. Broadleaf plantain or plantain. I'm sure we've all seen this. This is the broadleaf plantain. This is the buckhorn plantain. It has a narrower leaf. Then we have yarrow, which is another lawn weed. White clover. The Speed Zone or the Trimec will take out clovers very well. Then we have one called purslane. It actually has a thick leaf, kind of looks like a succulent, a cactus plant. And the bad thing about purslane is that once this is established, it can scatter a whole bunch of very small black seeds that can reproduce. Not only that, if you pull up purslane and you drop it on the soil, it'll actually reroot. So you have to remove this if you have purslane.
Well, Carl, all of these different weeds that you're making mention of, if you did apply a granular herbicide, would it take care of the majority of them or not?
No, that's a good question, Rob. Granular broadleaf herbicides do not work as well as liquid broadleaf herbicides. Granular herbicides are good for are good as a pre-emergence herbicide treatment in the spring when you're wanting to control crabgrass and other grassy weeds. It's applied in March, and then it's watered in, and then the herbicide moves down into the upper half-inch of soil, and when the crabgrass seed germinates, it kills the crabgrass just as the seed is germinating. So it works very well for grassy weeds as a preventive measure, but it does not do well for broadleaf weeds.
Okay.
Red sorrel is another weed that'll pop up in the lawn. You can kind of see this in between the grass. Then we have annual bluegrass, which is a weed. It can be a weed in a fescue lawn or even a Bermuda grass lawn, because it'll germinate in the fall. And this is another one that, well, I shouldn't say that. Annual bluegrass would be best controlled in the early spring or even earlier if you wanted to put down a granular herbicide to control bluegrass. The best time to put that out would be in the fall, in late September or October, because the bluegrass actually will start to germinate at that time. So it'll kill the germinating grass seed if you want to control it, especially if you have a Bermuda grass lawn, and you can spot the bluegrass in the Bermuda grass lawn very, very easily after the Bermuda grass has gone dormant. Smooth crabgrass, and again, the granular pre-emergence herbicides work very well against crabgrass applied in the spring. Same with goosegrass. Goosegrass looks like a weed. Well, first of all, it's prostrate, and then the center of it looks like somebody spilled some white paint in it. And when you mow the lawn, the mower just sails over the goosegrass and does not cut it because it lies so flat. Bermuda grass can be a weed, and it can also make a very nice lawn. People that don't like Bermuda grass, and a lot of people call it wiregrass, they can very effectively control Bermuda grass in the landscape around trees and shrubs and flower beds by the use of a post-emergence herbicide called Vantage, Vantage. You can spray it on actively growing Bermuda grass or any other grass, and it will kill it out and will not harm any other broadleaf plants, flowers, trees, shrubs, whatever you have in the landscape. Nutsedge is a real big problem because nutsedge is not a grass, it's a sedge. And if you look at the stem of a nutsedge plant, you'll find that it's triangular. You can roll it around between your fingers, and you can see it's actually a triangular stem. And in the picture here, it shows a seed head of seeds being produced by the nutsedge plant. But not only does it produce seed, it produces tubers or little nutlets that form on the root system of the plant. And so you can see a picture of these round nutlets on the right. Nutsedge likes very, very wet soils that don't drain well. So if you're seeing nutsedge, chances are that your soil drainage is not as good as it can be. There are products that can control nutsedge as it's growing in the lawn, and it will not harm the lawn grasses. Basagran, Basagran, is very good against nutsedge. It's applied as a liquid, and it kills the nutsedge, and it will not harm the lawn grass. As far as care of your new lawn is concerned, after 3 weeks after the seedlings emerge, you can apply a pound of nitrogen per 1,000 square feet. And again, that means 1 pound of 10-10-10 per 1,000 square feet. You can do the same thing to Bermuda grass in the spring or summer as well. We want to water the soil to maintain the soil moisture down to a 6-inch depth. Don't apply broadleaf weed killers to the lawn, as we said before, until it's been mowed at least 3 times. We want to fertilize cool season grasses with 1 pound of actual nitrogen per 1,000 square feet once in early September, and then you can come back in late November if you want to, although the ideal time is probably once you get past late October. I don't know if it's going to be as available to the plant as it would be in October. We say only if necessary, fertilize with a half a pound of actual nitrogen from late December to mid-February. But really, with all the problems we've had with brown patch fungus disease, I'm saying now to really skip that fertilization. You're just aggravating brown patch if you do. And as it says here, over-fertilization with nitrogen makes grass more susceptible to fungus disease later. Okay. All right. I think that'll get us started with what to do now in the fall with your grasses. Try to keep them growing well and weed free.
Well, Carl, and I think you made an excellent point. The best way to control the weeds in your lawn is to have a good stand of grass.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
We need to get a word on for the Lloyd Granville Agricultural Heritage Association. They're going to be advertising with us here on the Gardener's Corner program for about the next 4 weeks or so. But they've got their 8th annual harvest show. It's going to be taking place in Butner on Friday, October 3rd, Saturday, October 4th, and Sunday, October 5th. Here's more information. The Lloyd Granville Agricultural Heritage Association has scheduled their 8th annual harvest show for October 3rd, 4th, and 5th. That's a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. You certainly want to make it your plans to be at the show. It will take place in Butner, North Carolina, at the corner of 12th and G Streets. For more information, call Al Govan at 919-528-1652. If you're someone that enjoys tractors and hit-and-miss engines, they'll have a lot on display with antique farm equipment. Be sure to check out the one-of-a-kind antique tool and homestead display. The harvest show is scheduled for Friday, October the 3rd from noon until 5, Saturday, October the 4th from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m., and on Sunday, October the 5th from 11 a.m. until 4 p.m. This year's show will feature John Deere. For more information, call Al Govan at 919-528-1652. Daily admission is $5 or get a 3-day pass for only $8. Children 12 and under admitted free. That's October 3rd, 4th, and 5th in Butner for the 8th annual Harvest Show, sponsored by the Lloyd Granville Agricultural Heritage Association. All right, and we do appreciate all of our fine supporting sponsors, the Lloyd Granville Agricultural Heritage Association, T.G. Brooks Company, and Tim Williams Auction Company. Carl, we've got just about 1 minute to do a wrap-up, and
Okay.
Anyway, so take it away.
All right. Well, basically, if we have good weather, get out there and do the things that are needed to spruce up your cool season lawn. The best thing you can do is to add lime and fertilizer so that the lime will react with the soil and send the nitrogen down to be stored in the root system for next year's growth. Keep an eye on your cool season vegetables. Keep an eye out for worms that feed on cabbage, cauliflower, and broccoli. You can treat with Dipel for those and keep the cool season vegetables growing. They like water this time of year. Of course, we've had ample rain, so that helps us out. Fall planting of trees and shrubs can be done now. You can buy plants from container plants growing in nurseries, and they'll have plenty of time to establish a good root system before winter.
Okay. Hey, want to remind you again about the Person County Farm Tour taking place tomorrow and Sunday. You can get your tickets at the Museum of History, T.G. Brooks Company, and the North Carolina Cooperative Extension Service office here in Person County. For more information, call 336-599-1195. Get out and take part in the Person County Farm Tour, and you'll be glad that you did.
Right.
That's going to wrap it up for us here on the Gardener's Corner program. Special thanks to Mr. Carl Cantalupi of the North Carolina Cooperative Extension Service.
Thanks, Rob.
Again, thanks goes out to our sponsors, T.G. Brooks Company, Tim Williams Auction Company, and the Lloyd Granville Agricultural Heritage Association. Folks, we hope you have a wonderful and safe week, and we'll see you next Friday for another edition of the Gardener's Corner program.